The samurai, warriors who lived for honor. When we hear the word samurai, the first image that may come to mind is a warrior wearing armor, carrying a katana, and staring with. But samurai were much more than skilled swordsmen. They played a major role in shaping Japanese history. For centuries, they fought on battlefields, served powerful clans, and eventually became one of the most famous symbols of Japanese culture. But who were the samurai really? Their story began in medieval Japan, at a time when the central power of the emperor was weak, and powerful clans were fighting each other for control of the land. In these conditions, warriors emerged who served local lords and powerful families. Over time, samurai became a powerful social class. They came to be known as the samurai. Samurai were not simply soldiers. Samurai could own land, hold important positions, and play a major role in Japan's political system. One of the most important events in samurai history took place in 1185. From Shogun 1192, Japan entered an era in which shoguns and samurai held the power. They held real political power for centuries. But being a true samurai required more than military strength. For many samurai, the concept of honor was extremely important. Ideas such as loyalty, courage, discipline, a collection of principles that later became known as Bushido, or the way of the warrior.
The image of Bushido that we have today was partly shaped by later periods of Japanese history. We should not assume that every samurai in every century followed exactly the same code.
Nevertheless, loyalty to one's lord and protecting the reputation of the family were undoubtedly important values for many samurai. And now we come to the most famous weapon of the samurai, the katana, a curved and legendary sword that became a symbol of the samurai. Creating a traditional Japanese sword for samurai was a highly complex process. Swordsmiths used numerous techniques and stages to produce high-quality blades. They used many different weapons, including spears, bows and arrows, and later, firearms. In fact, archery was extremely important to Japanese warriors. Samurai also wore specially designed armor. Japanese armor not only protected the body, it could also represent the warrior's identity, status, and clan.
But samurai were not exclusively male warriors. Women from samurai families could also receive military training under certain circumstances. Some of them used weapons such as the naginata.
One of the most famous was Tomoe Gozen, a woman warrior who is remembered in Japanese historical and literary traditions as a highly skilled fighter.
The history of the samurai was not always filled with honor and victory. Japan experienced numerous civil wars. One of the most famous periods was the Sengoku period, also known as the Warring States period.
During this era, different clans fought each other for power and control. Three figures became particularly famous toward the end of this period: Oda Nobunaga, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, and Tokugawa.
Nobunaga conquered large parts of Japan. Hideyoshi continued his efforts, and eventually Tokugawa Ieyasu succeeded in unifying the country.
During period of Tokugawa, Japan became relatively stable, and samurai gradually changed from battlefield warriors into administrators and government officials. But as time passed, the world of the samurai began to change. In the 19th century, Japan came into increasing contact with the modern world and Western powers. In 1868, the Meiji Restoration began, and Japan entered a period of rapid modernization. A modern army was created, and the traditional privileges of the samurai class gradually disappeared. Eventually, in the 1870s, restrictions on carrying swords in public dealt a major blow to one of the most famous symbols of the samurai. The samurai were no longer the warrior class they had once been. And so, after nearly 1,000 years, the historical era of the samurai came to an end.
But strangely enough, as the samurai disappeared from history, their legend was just beginning. Today, samurai appear in movies, anime, video games, books, and popular culture around the world.
But the reality of the samurai was far more complicated than what we see in movies. They were not always heroes, nor were they always ruthless warriors. Samurai were human beings who lived during some of the most turbulent periods in Japanese history. They fought, made political alliances, experienced defeat, achieved victory, and eventually lost their traditional position as the world around them changed. Perhaps that is why the samurai remain fascinating to millions of people. Because their story is not simply about swords and war. It is the story of the rise and fall of a powerful warrior class. A story of loyalty, power, honor, and change.